What is this?
A center for ants?
Well, I must say, for a casual weekend, quite an experience.
You allow this sort of thing in your department, you're basically saying it's okay.
No, I'm saying that I don't care what they do as long as my life isn't interrupted by pointless conversations like this one.
Shut up!
Using his vast knowledge of history and politics, we start our day off right with motivational speaker Richard Battle.
Now this Wednesday will feel right. Last Wednesday did not, but we're back to having him here on Wednesday. Richard Battle, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. We're glad to be back. It's a vacation to be back with you.
I hope you had a good time. Did you do anything you can discuss?
Well, we were on assignment out at Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Park.
Nice.
In God's country, or at least where God goes on vacation.
Do you camp? I mean, you've got a tent and you hoofed it out the middle of no place, or are you like, I got a pop-up camper-y thing? What does your Grand Tetons look like?
I've outgrown the tent experience.
It's like the first thing when you finally have money is like, I'm not sleeping on the ground ever again. Okay, so yeah, okay, I can live with that.
I've done that. I used to have to do that going to my grandparents when all their kids would show up and the cousins and everything. The males would have to have tents in the yard to sleep. Yeah. There were so few places. So
yeah. It doesn't help the experience at all. Those that think it does it are lying. It's nice to have a bed. Are you good for you? Do some hiking then? I mean, walking around. What do you do when you get there?
Oh, hiking, enjoying the location out there. It's so beautiful, and meeting some great people out in that part of the world, imbued with the AmeriCANS spirit, as we talk about.
That's what we're going to talk about today. We are talking about AmeriCANS Who Made America, the 18th Century Birth of the Republic. It's one of my absolute favorite books of all time. And today we're going to talk about it, which I think is interesting because what you're not talking about. We're talking about entitlement mentality versus that American can-do spirit. Has that always been the fight in America? Or, were there folks in 1786 who felt entitled to something and the rest? Has it always been this battle like we have today?
No, the entitlement mentality came about in the 20th century when all of a sudden the government wanted to be everybody's daddy and take care of everybody, and created the illusion that they created value and created wealth and money and got people to sit back and take that versus having to provide for themselves and their families. And they killed or are killing the AmeriCANS spirit that made our country, because our ancestors, when the pioneers went on the wagon trains west and they left St. Joe, Missouri, there was no one to help them except themselves. And so they had to pull together and help each other and make it however they could. And that's what gave them the confidence to chase dreams and build the country. So that's the difference, and we need to get back to it.
Doesn't that scare you a little bit then, if there really wasn't an entitlement mentality for the first 175 years, that in the next 100 it's become so pervasive? And is it because of not learning just basic economics? I guess the one that I'm getting is when you talk about big government saying we can take care of this for the Inflation Reduction Act, the $1 trillion that 4 years ago they're going to pump into the economy, and that was going to make things better. Like somehow if I take $1 trillion from those that are working, take a little bit out for the government, and then give the rest back to somebody else, that's going to make things better somehow. We've fallen for that, right? I mean,
well, I think there's two things. One, the government has dumbed everybody down through government schools and our education to the fact that they make people believe that government creates money and has money. And so that any help that comes out from Washington is quote unquote from the government, that it doesn't cost anybody anything. But if we realize the truth that anything we get from the government basically is paid by our neighbor, if we think about it, that our neighbor's paying our way, we think differently about it. And so the second thing is the human nature that if somebody's going to help you and take care of you, then you take your foot off the gas and relax and let them, because you don't have to do something in some people. So those two things, I think, create this illusion that we can have success without risk, that we have setbacks are not our responsibility. They're somebody else's fault that we didn't achieve something, that we can become wealthy without working, that we get promotion without achievement. You know, these Gen Z people think they work 3 to 6 months and ought to get a promotion and a raise, for example.
I love the idea that, you know, it's your neighbor who's helping you out. If you look at it that way, you're less likely to put your hand up. I couldn't imagine if you had to go next door, if you were on welfare and you were getting a check once a month, you had to go next door to ask them for the money. I'm sorry.
That's a great point.
Because you would just like, you know, it would make you think twice, but it just shows up in your bank. And now it just shows up in your bank account. And remember back in the day, they used to have food money, right? You'd have money that you got from the government, and you knew who it was when you showed up to the cashier. I've got this much. And again, people need help, but it was almost an embarrassment thing. Well, now it's just on a credit card. It just shows up in your credit card.
Right.
No one knows.
If someone needs help, I mean, we're the most compassionate country in the world, and we ought to help them. But as Senator Phil Gramm, the late, he's not late, but the former Senator Phil Gramm used to say, we want to provide them a hand, not a hammock. And that's been the tendency, is to have a hammock. And when people don't press to achieve all they can achieve, they not only don't achieve more and live their best lives, they don't contribute to the overall benefit of the country. We need everybody working to deliver the best benefit to the country. And as you said, our ancestors, they would go out of their way and suffer versus asking someone for help, whether it was the government or someone else, because of that feeling that they were letting others down and not doing their part.
Let's bust down the entitlement mentality then. What exactly is it, and how does it work?
Well, like I say, people want success without work and without risk. They want no responsibility. They're always blaming someone else when they don't achieve something or have a setback. They want promotion without achievement, and they also a lot of times are focused on themselves and their needs versus setting an example for others. And we all set examples for others, whether we want to or not. And you'll see people in the entitlement mentality a lot of times say, I don't want to be an example. Well, we don't have a choice. We are examples. It's just a matter of what kind of example are we?
And especially for your children, that sort of thing. If you are in an entitlement mindset, you're going to raise your children in an entitlement mindset. I mean, there's not a whole lot of ways of getting around it. Let's talk about the other side of that, and what do we do about it if we're this far down that road, where there are, and I believe this 100%, there are folks who can almost go their entire lives in America and not pull their own weight. Is that probably the right way of saying it? How do we turn that around with the American can-do spirit? We'll talk about it after this with none other than Richard Battle.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
There are many ways to explore Alexandria. Some like to experience the outdoors and all the fun winter in Minnesota can provide. Pick your favorite way to get in touch with nature. Others like to explore downtown in the warm comfort of a boutique or gathered around a table with friends. You can do all of that or relax and do nothing at all. Come explore Alexandria. Start planning at explorealex.com.
You don't need to ask him his opinion more than once. Al Travis on The Al Travis Show.
We've got Richard Battle in the program with us. Richard, that entitlement thing, just so it doesn't sound like we're just ripping on people who have fallen on tough times. There's an old adage back in the day that mentioned that great wealth often never made it past the third generation. And what we're talking about there is entitled kids, right? Your parents had a lot, you expected a lot, your grandkids expected a lot. I'm sure it was three generations. Almost no fortune was ever made it through its third generation in that same way, right? It's an entitlement thing. I got money, I'll spend money on me. This goes both ways on the very rich and the poor.
Well, absolutely. And again, it's that tendency, how your mentality is, and whether you're driven one way or the other. And the people who are driven to sit back and take what others provide for them are a drag on our country and a drag on themselves. And you're right. That's part of the human nature, unfortunately, that we have to fight. And the people with the AmeriCAN spirit, out of necessity or opportunity, go out there and achieve because they want to or have to achieve to survive. And their pride will not let them depend on others.
Well, give us, you talk about what the entitlement mentality is. What is the American can-do spirit? What do you think?
Well, one, people will take risk to achieve. They'll chase dreams and risk success or failure. And when they do that, that builds a lasting character, because every time we achieve something, we learn from it, and it's a stepping stone to something else. But also, anytime we fail, if we take it and learn the lesson from that, it can help us succeed even better than success can. And so working hard and smart, everybody talks about working smart now. Well, yeah, we want to work smart, but if you combine that with working hard, that's a force multiplier in your success as well. And so then when we achieve success, there's success not only for today, but a legacy beyond one's lifetime. And like you say, that's the sad thing. People will build something up, they pass away, and 2 or 3 generations down the road, it may be gone if they do not pass along that AmeriCAN spirit as well.
You would think, like say, if you're able to set the next generation up, it should multiply. But back to entitlement mentality, when that sneaks in and says, I deserve this, my dad left me this money, whatever it is, all of a sudden you see this thing spiral down until, like say, the old adage was it was 3 generations, it was gone. You got examples of any that you enjoy with American Can-Do? I mean, you write books on it, so who would be, and don't give me George Washington. We always use Washington.
No, we're not going to use Washington today, but I want to use Joseph Warren out of AmeriCANS, who made America the 18th century birth of the Republic.
I have that book, and I read about him.
Most people don't recognize the name Joseph Warren. He was a medical doctor, very involved with the independence movement. He was made a major general, even though he was a doctor. And yet he was the one who sent off Paul Revere and William Dawes on the midnight rides before Lexington and Concord. And yet, being a doctor, he was not satisfied staying behind the lines and treating the wounded. He fought in combat, and he sacrificed his life at Bunker Hill in June of 1775, after Lexington and Concord, long before the Declaration of Independence, because he believed in acting with that can-do spirit, not taking advantage of his quote-unquote privilege and serving as a doctor and just telling other people what to do. Yeah. And he's an example we should remember, because he acted, he didn't just talk.
Some of us in the know with Richard Battle Enterprises understand that the Americans Who Made America, 18th Century Battle Republic, is the first of a couple of books that are coming out. You got one about the 19th century. That's coming out. Do you have any examples of the American Can-Do spirit in the 19th century?
Well, yes. And the 18th century is the first of a 4-book series. The 19th century volume will be out June 10th.
That's so right around the corner.
About it more here in a couple of weeks.
Love that.
There was a lady who I found fascinating, and we tell her story. She was the first self-made Black woman millionaire in the United States. Her name was Sarah Breedlove, was her birth name. She was the first one in her family born after the Civil War, and she was in poverty. And at 13, she got married to escape her family. And she
All right.
took out work like laundry work and things of that nature for $1 a day just to survive. But she believed that she had to provide for herself. She wasn't looking to anybody to help her or provide for her or to carry her. She had that American do spirit. And she had a scalp issue, which is common in the African American community with ladies. And so she worked around and came up with a remedy that helped her scalp ailment. And she told her friends about it. They liked it. They tried it, and she started selling her friends. And then she built this big multi-million-dollar business and changed her name to the name of the business, Madam C.J. Walker, and became the first self-made African-American woman millionaire. But the thing that amazed me also was she wasn't satisfied just to make the money with the success. She became a philanthropist, and she felt a duty and a mission to help other African American women become successful. And to me, that's the kind of story, regardless of race or gender, that is of the American do spirit and the type that I'm trying to share to encourage people to go out there and live their richest and fullest lives.
What I love about that story is I never knew who Madam Walker was until you bring it up. That's the sort of thing, even with Americans who made America the 18th century. George Washington's going to make the hit. You're going to make it. But there are probably about 10, 15 folks in here I did not know, and I think I follow history pretty well. And then you hear the inside story. That Madam Walker story is fantastic. I will tell you 99% of Americans have never heard that name.
Well, and here's the thing. You may know 30 of the 40s stories, but your kids will know 10 or less.
And that's the whole story. Yeah.
This volume is written for young adults and up. And so if you want your kids or grandkids to read in short profiles about some of these people and be inspired so they can pursue their own dreams, that's what I'm trying to achieve.
And like I say, I like history, so I knew the names of these people. You don't know all the cool stories about them. There's so much context in these. You really want to get your kids the book. Pick it up, Americans Who Made America, 18th Century, Birth of the Republic. In 10, 12 days, we're going to get the next one out. Going to love that. Stories like Madam Walker in there. Again, I never heard of that name. How do I pick up the book, Rich?
Well, richardbattle.com. All books are signed. If you'd like one inscribed for a gift, email me, richard@richardbattle.com, and we're happy to do that after you place your order. Also, Amazon has all 11 of my books, including Kindle and audio versions as well. The Kindle and audio will be a little bit later on this 19th century volume after the paperback version's introduced.
I love it. Do they do pre-orders right now, or do you just got to wait till the 10th?
You can do pre-orders on the website. It'll direct you to Amazon at this point, and Amazon is taking pre-orders right now.
Appreciate you on the show, my friend. Always a pleasure.
My pleasure. God bless America.
Chanhassen Dinner Theaters brings you its